Good morning. I have a special treat for you guys today. I'm going to take you behind the scenes of my newly created Survey Droid Adventures video that I made with Clip Studio Paint and Unreal Engine 5.7. So here we are with some behind the scenes of this video that I've created. I'm calling it Survey Droid Adventures. It's basically a story about this little survey droid who explores the galaxy and goes to unknown places and records what it sees and sends it back to its home planet. Typically doesn't have a whole lot of ambitions. I think of it more like the in Star Wars, the little probe droid. That was the inspiration for this guy. I just thought, wow, it'd be cool just to have a droid that wanders around and just finds itself lost into different adventures, and what would happen? What would the droid do, and how would other things around it kind of react? So this is a kind of a non sequitur story that I put together. Assets were all drawn in Clip Studio Paint, and then of course the animation or the movie was built inside of Unreal Engine, which predominantly is a platform for video games, but I really like the cinematic video aspect of it, and the 3D modeling is so cool. So I'm going to play a few sequences, and I'm just going to talk as the movie plays. When we last saw our hero, he was investigating planet Xmas 1225. And so the survey droid is a flip book, which I'll show you later in the video. A little bit closer look, but it's a flip book made up of PNG files imported into Unreal Engine. And let's see if I can move this. Yeah, I can move it back before us. So as you move across the top, so this was keyframed. I took this sprite and basically dragged him across the screen and added keyframes in front of the camera to record him coming in and off of the stage.
It looks like they're being attacked by zombie snowmen of some sort.
Snowmen for the first time. You're using some effects from CapCut.
Investigating further.
I was able to
Activating proposal.
let me go back here. I was able to basically use a filter or a video effect to make it look like you're looking through the survey sprite's camera system at what's going on. So he's got the little tracking bar to pick up the bad guys.
Calculating.
And these voices are all done by me.
Activating propulsion. I've located what appears to be a survivor.
Please, help us. I don't know what else to do.
And here's another flipbook character. I drew him a few weeks ago, animated him. He was supposed to be an avatar on my... also for when I stream for the holidays, have him waving at folks as I'm doing my live streams. But I ended up thinking, wow, it would be cool to have this elf as our protagonist, or no, that's probably not the right term. We'll just say he was an actor in this movie.
Appears to be heavily outnumbered. Potentially.
So I found the audio library in CapCut, and I heard this sound, and I thought, wow, what a really dramatic. Like, I immediately thought of like The Walking Dead when I listened to that music. I'm like, here, let's play.
Appears to be heavily outnumbered.
Yeah, I can just kind of imagine
Reinforcements.
And I was really trying to go for something really dramatic with the camera angles. So as you see, as I'm kind of zooming out and slowly zooming in. Again, this is a first-person view. This is the survey droid moving in closer and looking at these guys who have their arms raised like they're ready to attack. sense of unknown as we slowly cut out into the next, to be continued if you will, for the next episode. I love these sounds. I want to hear that again. But yeah, that's the video. Like you can see, it's just about what, a minute and 30 seconds long. Not too bad for a video short. This was the second episode, by the way. So if you haven't seen the first episode, you gotta check that one out. But now I'm gonna take you behind the scenes even further, and I'm gonna show you the Unreal Engine side of things. Good morning, everyone. This is my screen in Unreal. So I'm just going to take you on a quick tour of my set, if you will, for these movies that I've been making lately. So this is an overhead view. Again, this is all in Unreal Engine using the 5.7 version. I've got some free assets that I downloaded using Fab, these old columns here. And the ground I actually went through and made myself using the sculpting tool. Super random. Like I didn't really even know what I was looking for when I was making it. I just kind of let things happen, which is really kind of fun about art. Sometimes, you know, the whole Bob Ross happy accident thing. And then I got using some all right, no pull out of here. Let's go look at our snowman zombies. These also were drawn in Clip Studio Paint, exported as PNGs, and then brought into Unreal as sprites. I've got a few. I wanted to make it look like this place is under attack, and our hero survey droid has to record and hopefully find a way out of this problem. And then, you know, the snowman, you can't see it right now, but if you click on the snowman, let's see if I was gonna, I'll just try and show you real fast. Go to, we'll say add level sequence. Yeah, we'll just call it test. Can't spell test. There we go. Save. Okay, so this is the sequencer, and we need to add a camera, Okay, so if I come down here, select him, we'll just drag him to our timeline. I'll show you how easy it is to, where are you? There you are. Move you up here. All right, so I hit this little plus sign. And I'm going to add transform. And now I have a line that's just for the actions that I might have this character do. Try to back out of him here a little bit. There we go. So if I go out here and let's say I want to rotate him, right? So I come to transform. I'm going to hit the little, not that, hit this plus sign. Now I'm going to move the playhead a little bit. And then we'll move him like that. Hit transform. I'm going to move him ahead a little bit more. The playhead a little bit more. But now I got to move him. Let's see, let's go the other way. not that way. And transform. There we go. Now if I hit play, we'll just do it with the playhead. You can see, now he's very rudimentary, rocking back and forth, like, scary monster, but still super cool. I think this is fun stuff. Let's see. These rocks here, these were also a downloaded asset and from the Fab store, and then I just like created copies of them and stacked them on top of each other. All right, now we'll go find the hero of our story, Survey Drawing himself. Oh, there he is, just kind of floating over here in the middle of nowhere. Let's zoom in so we can get a little bit closer look at him. So, believe it or not, this character was made probably like 3 years ago when I was first learning how to animate in Clip Studio Paint. And so when I made him, like I had no idea that 3 years from then I'd be using him as a character in a Unreal video, right? Because I would have made a lot of different designs, decisions back then. For like for example, his eyes are blinking on and off, and you can kind of see the lights there, just above his little grabby arms, blinking on and off. I would have used a little bit better contrast sense, if you will, so that it would have been more pronounced of a blink. Again, didn't know I was going to use it for this back then. So hindsight's 2020. But I'll tell you, like I don't, as an artist, like I don't throw anything away. I keep everything that I make, and I'll throw it away in some kind of a folder in case I get inspired. I just love those little grabby claws. They just turn off while here and just grab something. Um, but I was actually pretty impressed with the detail back then. I mean, again, I was really just learning how to use Clip Studio Paint, and I was afraid to put too much detail into the animation because I didn't know if the animation would all carry together. If I'd have like a detail on one frame and then something that would move away. It's kind of hard to describe unless you played with the animation stuff in Clip Studio Paint. But sometimes you can animate something, add a highlight, and then when you're moving your playhead, the highlights you just added stay, but your animation moves away from it. So you have to make sure that everything is in the same timeline folder. Um, More complicated topic for a different day. And the next thing I want to show you is this cube that's kind of like around the entire center stage, if you will. That's a volumetric cube, and that's there to create more of an illusion of depth. You can kind of see what it's doing to the mist there in the ground, and then if you look carefully right there in the center, those are actually Christmas lights that I put in, and they're really nothing more than point lights that I've placed in front of uh, the column. But with the volumetric cube, it makes that soft glow. Like, if you put your Christmas trees up already, like we have, like the lights provide this nice soft glow. It's one of my favorite things about Christmas. But I like to produce that effect in almost all of my work. Uh, we'll zoom here a little bit closer. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about my subscribe droid. And again, this is another animation that I made probably about a year ago. He was used to uh, for live streams. To remind people very politely that if you haven't liked or subscribed much to my channel, to go ahead and do so. Knock knock. Subtle hint. Subtle hint. Uh, hey, no pressure. If you like my stuff, like it. Uh, Subscribe if you want more. But anyway, that was the purpose. But what how cute would it be to kind of pull him into this movie and have him have a, small role, and kind of like show him off to everybody. Again, it's like I said, and it's probably what you'll hear a lot of artists say is when you create stuff and put it into some type of a content folder, because you never know when you might want to pull something out of a drawer. You might get inspired by a new idea and add it into or you might just take that original idea and just completely rework it into something else. But at least it gives you something that's 50% done, so you're not always starting from scratch. So yeah, I'm pretty much like a big kid when it comes to this stuff. I love working with Unreal Engine. I've only been using it for a few months. I love the 3D architecture that I can play around with, and I love how I can create my own movies. I'm probably going to let my imagination just roam away and wander, and create new stuff, specifically in 2026. Let me just zoom out here real fast so you can kind of see the entire set. Uh, and there you have it. I hope that you found this useful, and maybe you've got some inspiration on it from your own ideas. And as always, I'd love to hear from you in the comments on what your thoughts are. And have a great one. Out of here.